Hi, love. You know, sometimes as a Christian, I understand why people believe in the church. Yeah, I do, especially when it comes to videos like this.
I'm sorry, y'all. And I just hope that y'all all forgive me and will pray for me.
Long story short, that little baby girl has been made to make a public apology during the people in the church apologizing for becoming pregnant. Whether the guy also had to do the same things, we don't know, but probably not. And more oftentimes than not, as someone who has grown up in the black church, the woman has always been hated by the church. Not blatant, actually it is quite blatant at this point, but the church has most likely not been a safe place for the black woman in the black church. And this video is a bit sensitive, especially to me because I'm a Christian and I don't want to come on here and make people not want to go to God, you know? That is not my point of my video. But I feel like topics like this need to be discussed more because these are the reasons, these are the underlying things that happen that make people leave the church or leave Christianity in general, because these things go unsaid. But these things have lasting damage towards people's lives. So I want to talk about why the black church hates the black woman so much. Black women are the most active members within a church or church society in general. They are the ones showing up early in the morning. My mom wakes up at 5 a.m. every Saturday, every Sabbath, because I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, wakes up to go and pray for the church, right? The women are the ones that are giving most of their offerings up. The women are the ones that are cooking, that are cleaning the church, that are doing everything in the church, yet positions or leadership roles are never given to them. Yet they are the majority of people being made to make confessionals or be made to keep on holding to that man as he cheats on you in front of the church or as he cheats on you with a young kid. Women are denied opportunity within the church, even though they literally do the most work. And during these years, I've seen more women leave the church and more men join, because a lot of men, or black men, have realized that is one of the places that they can get power without really needing any education, without really needing any credible work for them to be put in leadership positions. They are treated like trash within their workplaces in real life, you know, with racism and all that type of stuff, systematic things. But within the church, that is somewhere where they can be respected, where can they be put on a pedestal, where they can get away with a lot of things without any accountability. And a lot of black women, as you've seen, are leaving the church because of this and many other reasons. Did I say hi, love? I usually say that at the beginning of my video, but anyway, hi, love. I want to talk about some of the things, the grinding things that we as black women have to face within the church, the things that we have to deal with, things that need to be fixed, honestly. And first thing is the policing of black women's bodies within the church. And this is something that I noticed drastically as I moved from South Africa, Zimbabwe to France, right? If you know Adventism, you know, whatever, you know, because every church is pretty much different at this point. The Adventist church that you are familiar with in America or the UK is different from the one in my village in Zimbabwe. Completely different things. And that's something that I noticed as soon as I arrived in Nice here in France, in the south of France. I saw a woman elder for the first time in my life. I'd never seen one before. I saw women wearing pants in church. I saw black women be able to just dress and not feel ashamed of their bodies. Not crazy. Like, you see me, I'm pretty much, you know, modest, feminine, but it was just lovely and refreshing to see women be allowed to be feminine and not feel some type of shame. I found myself kind of shaming women. I saw her with red lipstick. I was like, ooh, red lipstick in church? Ooh, how dare you? But it's because of the condition that I had growing up within that African black church, where everything that has to do with femininity was seen as sin, right? From a young age within the church. And I saw that many sermons that were taught here, they didn't lead or end up being about modest dressing and women being Jezebels. That was such the norm for me. Whenever we're at church back in South Africa or back in Zimbabwe, whatever it would always end up being about how women are trying to, make men fall, like nothing women would do was right. Everything had to do with how we were dressing, how we looked, how our bodies looked. That is the topic that was always rounded up to that. And the discussions about purity and abstinence overwhelmingly always targeted women, black women specifically, because we're already overly sexualized when we were kids. From the time we are born, they are telling her, watch out for her, she's gonna put you in trouble, watch out for her, that little girl, she's doing too much. So from a young age in the church, we're already told that it is your fault that men are looking at you. Whenever topics of purity, which I 100% believe in, your body is temple of Christ, all that messaging, 100% true, 100% agree, but it's overwhelmingly always targeted at young girls and never at boys. And I remember this pastor, one of my favorite pastors, Pastor Catelo. Please check him out. He has a YouTube channel. He's always posting great, amazing sermons. But anyway, he was talking about how the overwhelming teachings about sexuality and purity targeting towards girls, young girls, is as harmful because you are neglecting the young boys. Even though they don't show pregnancy, the church has neglected them and they've been reckless and being lost in a sinful world because no one ever checks for them, right? Because whatever the message is in the Bible is always targeted at women, as if the Bible was not written to all men and women. So again, with the policing of black women's bodies, the same thing with motherhood, like single mothers are looked down upon within the church. Having a man is more important than the well-being of everybody in that household. So that man can beat you up, do everything he does that is illegal within that household. But it is much better to stay than be a single woman. And the single women, the black single women, are always singled out when it comes to church programs as well. There's always the couples camp, couples this, couples that. But the black women, yeah, you're gonna be made to feel some type of way just for being single. No one wants to invite you to their house because you're gonna take their man. You are always the target of that within the church. You are looked down upon. Men in the church approach you wanting to or expecting to sleep with you because, you're a single woman, you've done this before type of thing, which is just horrendous, to be quite honest. There's also the endless expectations of forgiveness and suffering within like marriages and stuff like that. Black women in black churches must always suffer. They must always endure. I remember this quote being said in South Africa. They were like, a lot of women have died because they've been told to nyamezela. The women complain, he's doing this and this and that, and then the women around them from the church tell them, don't give up. So there's a lot of graves of women because they were told not to give up and keep on praying and have faith, instead of getting the hell out of there. Basically, I don't know. They've really taken that God hates divorce into another level where it's like women would be advised to stay within harmful relationships because that's what the Lord wants. Always forgive, right? Always, stay in situations and just pray about it and have faith, and that's it. Sermons always being emphasized on praying for your husband, but he can just do whatever he wants. We're not going to talk about, affairs and children outside of the marriage. Let's not address that, but let's address you staying, That's the main topic. And the idea that suffering on earth leads to rewards in heaven is often used to justify the mistreatment of Black women within the Black church. Like, yeah, you'll go through this, but then later on, like, God wants you to live now. You know, that's why I love that verse in Ephesians chapter 29 verse 11, that the plans that God has for you are plans of like goodness and happiness and joy and peace. Like, it's not for you to suffer through life. Like, I don't know why people want people to suffer. It's so weird. And this overwhelming amount of sermons of submission encourage Black women to just endure toxic marriages, which is just the complete opposite messaging that you get on this side of the world, where it's like, no, go to the police, you know, but this idea of just keeping things within the family and keeping things from the authorities is just better, makes you a strong warrior for God. It's just toxic. This is the devil in the church. Okay, and can we also talk about how some of the verses in the Bible are just taken out of context and made to put women down? Especially within Genesis, you know, when God is talking about the punishments, you know, for the man, you will basically eat your sweat. For the woman, childbearing is gonna be tough. Oh gosh, I'm so worried. Oh, I'm gonna have a baby soon. I'm scared. But anyway, it is what it is. Because before all that happened, before they ate the fruit, men and women were equal. That was the perfect thing that God had created in the Garden of Eden. And because of sin, one of the curses for the women was to be under the man, right? But we should be living as it is in heaven, right? That's why, especially in my church, we always practice eating healthy, because that is how things are going to be after in heaven. We are trying to live life here sinless as it will be in heaven. It won't be an automatic thing where it's like when Jesus comes, we're taken up to heaven and we've been doing all these things and now we're suddenly going to be holy and all that. We should be holy as he is holy right now on earth. Therefore, we should be trying to go back to the Garden of Eden, how things were before, where men and women were equal under God. And that's something a lot of people don't like to hear. But when we go to heaven, the curse is going to be broken. The women are not going to be as it is right now. Even though it's the reality, people should be striving to live as though we're still in the Garden of Eden before sin. But anyway, we're not going to try to preach today, right? But a lot of the verses, or the Bible in general, the Bible is not only the word from God, but it's also a historical book where it records what used to happen back in the day. It doesn't really necessarily mean that it should be practiced, but it's just a mention of how things used to be done. That is why you see sometimes people take, stories like Solomon, whoever it was, had 1,000,000 wives, and then they start to take 1,000 wives because they're like, he used to do it. I'm like, no. The Bible mentioning that he had so-and-so 700 wives doesn't mean that that's how it should be, but it's just a historical event that has been recorded for us to learn from. There is always that confusion where it's like, that's just how things used to be done, and also this is what should be done. But anyway, I digress. A lot of men within these black churches hate women, okay, and take the Bible and use it to just exercise their power even more and just feel superior. But anyway, as I mentioned before, a lot of black women are now leaving the church, and it honestly breaks my heart. But it's also like, yeah, I get it. Like, I get it, especially if you're not, really, if you have stumbled upon a church that's just toxic, full of toxic people, of course you're gonna leave. And one of the reasons is that their mental health is not being taken seriously. They are tired of being told to pray it away. They are tired of being told to get stuck in relationships where they hurt physically and emotionally, mentally, and just being told to have faith. And a lot of women are now speaking up online, like what I'm doing right now, to show what's normal and what's not within a church. And I want to encourage you to like find a different church. If you're in a church and that's toxic, don't feel like you have to leave the church, like leave God, you know? Leave that church, leave that specific church, okay? And pray to God that He helps you find the right church with the right amount of people. In as much as, you know, they say that you shouldn't go to church for people, focus on God. Let's not pretend that people don't impact how church is for you. Like, let's not pretend like that's not an actual thing. Ooh, these people walking outside. I wonder if they can hear me. But anyway, Black church needs to level up. Okay, we need to stop this. Jesus is coming soon. Okay, and I just hope that men, this large number of men that are now coming to church, are coming for the right reasons. And I also hope that Black women, women in general, really get to stick up for each other and not encourage each other to just pray it away, you know, because there are people that you can go to, you know, to get help from your problems. And people need to acknowledge the amount of effort that goes within a church and the amount of, you know, work Black women do put in within the Black church. Our mothers and grandmothers, they are the ones returning tithes, not these men. These men are just out there collecting the offerings, whatever, building churches, scamming people. But the grunt work of keeping that church alive is because of Black women within that Black church. But anyway, tell me what you guys think about this topic. It's a bit sensitive one, and I pray to God that this does not make you wanna leave the church or leave God, because me speaking about this just shows that God is there. He wants you to find a better community, and that you know, He sees you, He sees your struggle, you know, and you can get help. But anyway, yeah, tell me what you guys think about this topic. See you guys next time. Bye.